Hi, I'm Skinny Cheeks, and this video will be going over the top 25 Stamina DPS sets for PvE in the Elder Scrolls Online. This list is current for the HARROWSTORM DLC. These sets are ranked by their overall usefulness with both damage output and utility in mind. You won't see some sets like Hircine's that are good utility sets, but too much of a damage loss for the wearer, so should only be run on a support role. I got all of my set info from ESOsets.com. I always use this site for gear because it's always up to date since it pulls the data directly from the game. And remember, these are, well, just like my opinion, man. You're welcome to disagree. Coming in at number 25, we have Blood Moon. This is a dungeon set found in March of Sacrifices. The set bonuses are weapon damage, weapon crit, and for the 5-piece, when you deal damage with a melee light attack, you gain a stack of blood scent for 8 seconds. When you gain 5 stacks, you become frenzied for 5 seconds, increasing your melee light attack damage by 55% and attack speed by 50%. This can occur once every 15 seconds. This set made the list because it's amazing for werewolf builds. It synergizes really well with the werewolf's light attack damage. Unfortunately, it doesn't have much use outside of that. At number 24, we have Scavenging Demise. This is also a dungeon set located in Depths of Malatar. The set bonuses are weapon damage, weapon crit, and for the 5-piece, when you deal critical poison damage to an enemy, summon the Scavenging Maw, which attacks your enemy after 2 seconds. The Scavenging Maw deals 7,000 poison damage and inflicts minor vulnerability for 15 seconds, increasing the damage taken by 8%. This effect can occur every 10 seconds. This set is situationally useful if you don't have minor vulnerability in group. It gets really good uptime on it. But outside of that, the proc from it on the 5-piece is pretty weak, so it's not really worth running if you do have minor vuln in group. For number 23, we have Heem-JAS Retribution. This is a dungeon set found in Ruins of Mazatoon. For the set bonuses, we have Stam Recovery, Max Stamina, Weapon Crit, and then for the 5-piece, when you are within 28 meters of an enemy you are in combat with, and the enemy dies, you gain Major Berserk for 5 seconds, increasing your damage done by 25%. This is really useful on fights where there's lots of adds constantly dying, like the last boss in Moongrave Fane, but outside of a few specific scenarios, you can't really get enough uptime for it to be worth it. Coming in at number 22 is AZUREBLIGHT Reaper. This is a dungeon set found in Lair of Marsalok. For the set bonuses, we have Weapon Crit, Stamina, Stam Recovery, and then when you deal damage with the damage over time effect, you apply a stack of Blight Seed to your target for 5 seconds. At 20 stacks, the seed explodes, dealing 11,100 disease damage to the target and nearby enemies. An enemy can only have 1 instance of Blight Seeds applied at a time. So this set is really nice for trash fights with lots of adds, as you can build the stacks on the different adds and they all explode on each other. The problem is the set can only be utilized by 1 person in the group, as the seeds do not stack. At number 21, we have SPRIGGAN'S THORNS. This is an overland set found in Bankurai. For the set bonuses, we have Stamina, Weapon Damage, and 3450 Physical Penetration. If you're not reaching the pin cap of 18,200 and you're a good bit off, this is probably a top 15 set. Unfortunately, the 5-piece bonus is not really useful in optimized groups, as you can pretty easily get there without it. This is a great set for solo content and for leveling, and is really easy to get your hands on early in the game. At number 20, we have Essence Thief. This is a dungeon set found in the White Gold Tower. For the set bonuses, we have a Max Stam, Weapon Damage, and then for the 5-piece, dealing damage with a light or heavy attack draws essence from the enemy that pools near them for 5 seconds. Drawing from the pool heals you for 3,900 health, restores 3,900 stamina, and increases your damage done by 10% for 10 seconds. A pool can only be created once every 10 seconds. This set has undergone a lot of reworks in the past few patches to make it a little more reliable, and it does really good damage, and it's great for sustain. The problem with it is the essence can be hard to gather sometimes, and sometimes it can go places that you just can't go pick it up, and so it can be a bit unreliable, and you can run into situations where it performs pretty poorly. For number 19, we have Hunding's Rage. This is a craftable set. It needs 6 traits to be researched and is found in Bankurai, Reaper's March, and the Rift. Set bonuses are Weapon Crit, Max Stam, Weapon Crit, and 300 weapon damage for the 5-piece. This is probably the most common set used for beginners. It does fair damage, it's easily obtainable, and it's a great early set before trial gear is collected. At number 18, Shadow of the Red Mountain. This is an overland set found in Stonefalls. For the bonuses, we have weapon damage, stamina, weapon crit. Then for the 5-piece, when you deal damage with a weapon, you have a 10% chance to spawn a volcano that erupts after 1 second, launching liquid hot lava at the closest enemy, dealing 8,400 flame damage. This effect can occur every 2 seconds. This set does fair damage and is pretty easy to get as it's in one of the early starting zones. It's usually more damage than Hunding's up until the point of about 70k DPS or so, and it's even better on Stam DKs since Stam DKs get more burning damage. It pairs really well with using Rapid Strikes as your spammable, since that ability hits 5 times within 0.6 seconds, it gives it a lot of chances to proc. Plus, the animation looks pretty cool. Coming in at number 17, we have Briarheart. This is an overland set found in Hrothgar. For the set bonuses, it's weapon crit, max stam, weapon crit, and then for the 5-piece, when you deal critical damage, you have a 25% chance to increase your weapon damage by 450 for 10 seconds. While this effect is active, your critical strikes heal you for 378 health. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. This set also deals fair damage. It's almost identical damage as Hunding's if you average out the 450 weapon damage, up 10 seconds and then down 5 seconds. But I put it a bit ahead of Hunding's because it has the nice heal to go with it too. Since I took the internal cooldown off the heal, it can do almost as much as Crit Surge on a Sork, so it's a really nice set to stay alive. Alright, at number 16 we have Leviathan. This is a dungeon set found in the Crypt of Hearts. The set bonuses are max stam, weapon crit, and weapon crit. This set does really good damage. One of the biggest downsides is that the bonus doesn't carry over to your back bar if you're running it on your weapons. At number 15 we have Dragonguard Elite. This is an overland set found in Southern Elsewhere. The set bonuses are weapon crit, weapon damage, stam recovery, and then for the 5-piece, you gain a stack of Dragonguard Tactics for 5 seconds when you deal damage to an enemy from the front or their sides, up to 5 stacks. Each stack of Dragonguard Tactics increases your weapon crit by 476. You can only gain 1 stack every 1 second. This set does really good damage too. It's almost identical as Leviathan in damage, but you get better sustain. And it also carries over to your back bar. One of the drawbacks to the set is it's not usable if the fight you're doing is from behind the enemy. For number 14, we have Mechanical Acuity. This is a craftable set that needs 6 traits researched, and it's found in the Clockwork City. For the set bonuses, we have weapon damage, spell damage, stamina, magicka, and then for the 5-piece, when you deal direct damage, you have a 15% chance to gain unerring mechanical vision for 5 seconds, causing your attacks to always be a critical strike. This effect can occur once every 18 seconds. This set does really good damage, especially if you run it on your front bar only and proc it with an ability like Rapid Strikes, so the bonus is more likely to proc during your spammable phases than when you're on your back bar. You will get unlucky sometimes and it will proc right before you swap back to your back bar, but for the most part you're usually getting your crits while you're dealing the most damage. This set's also really good for leveling since the 5-piece bonus doesn't diminish as you level up. At number 13, we have the MORAG Tong. This is an overland set found in Cyrodiil in the town of Bruma. For the set bonuses, we have weapon damage, stamina, weapon damage, and for the 5-piece, when you deal direct damage, you cause the enemy to take 10% more damage from all poison damage abilities for 5 seconds. This set is better suited to run on support, but is really nice to have in all stamina compositions, especially ones with bow using lethal arrow. And it's better to have a DPS run it than to not have it in the group at all. The 2 through 4-piece bonuses are still really nice for damage, so it's not a complete loss for the wearer. At number 12, we have Berserking Warrior, also known as Advancing Yokeda. This is a trials set found in Helra Citadel. For the set bonuses, we have weapon crit, weapon damage, weapon crit, and for the 5-piece, when you deal melee damage, your critical strike rating is increased by 400 for 6 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. This effect can occur once every half second. This is the best of all the sets that play into weapon crit, as it has the best overall bonuses, and the bonus that you build up carries over to your back bar. It was the meta for a bit, but now is outclassed by some other sets. This is a heavy set, so make sure to run it on your jewelry and your weapons to keep your medium armor passives. Coming in at number 11, we have TWICE-FANGED Serpent. This is a trial set found in Sanctum Ophidia. For the set bonuses, we have weapon damage, Stamina, Weapon Crit, and then for the 5-piece, when you deal damage, your physical penetration is increased by 860 for 3 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. This is the strongest of the penetration sets, so similar to SPRIGGAN'S, if you do need the penetration, this is one of the best sets to go to. Unfortunately, the 5-piece bonus is not very useful in optimized groups with good debuff uptimes. Alright, before we get into the top 10, I wanted to go over 2 sets that didn't quite make the cut. So our honorable mentions will go to Automaton and Night Mother's Gaze. Automaton is a dungeon set found in Darkshade Caverns. It's a top 10 damage set for both Sorks and Templars, but just isn't too good on stam classes outside of them. The 5-piece bonus is affected by major and minor weapon damage buffs, so when you account for almost all of those 2 classes, damage being physical, it's a really nice set to run. For Night Mother's Gaze, it's a craftable set. You need 6 traits to research it, and it's found in Bankurai, Reaper's March, and the Rift. It is situationally useful for instances when you might not have major fracture, but that's a pretty easy debuff to come by, so this set doesn't see much use. Alright, now for the top 10. At number 10, we have War Machine. This is a trial set found in Halls of Fabrication. The set bonuses are Stamina, Minor Slayer, Weapon Damage, and then for the 5-piece, when you use an ultimate ability, you and the closest 2 allies within 28 meters of you gain Major Slayer for 10 seconds, increasing your damage done to dungeon, trial, and arena monsters by 15%. This set is especially good on classes that have low-cost ults, like Nightblades and Templars, and is a great buff to have when running alongside Magicka DPS. Unfortunately, it's not very useful with other Stamina DPS because of Locustes. At number 9, we have Roar of Alkosh. This is a trial set found in Maw of Lorkhaj. For the set bonuses, it's Weapon Crit, Minor Slayer, Weapon Damage, and for the 5-piece, when you activate a synergy, you send a shockwave from your position that deals 1720 physical damage and an additional 12,000 physical damage over 10 seconds. This reduces the physical resistance and spell resistance of any enemy hit by 30-10 for 10 seconds. This is one of the most popular sets in the game, and you'll see it most commonly on tanks. It's been the meta on tanks for, well, since the trial came out. I put it on the DPS set because there are some fights in the game when it's nice to have a DPS run it to make sure you get good uptimes. And the proc from it actually does decent damage, especially if you're getting a fair amount of synergies. That damage can add up pretty quickly. Ideally, put it on a tank, but find a way to put it in your group one way or another. Coming in at number 8, Aegis Caller. This is a dungeon set found in Unhallowed Grave. The set bonuses are Weapon Damage, Stam Recovery, Weapon Damage, and when you deal critical damage with a melee ability, summon a Lesser Aegis for 11 seconds. After 2.5 seconds, the Lesser Aegis spins its blades, dealing 3730 bleed damage every 1 second. This effect can occur every 12 seconds. This is a great damage set when there are multiple enemies. It's fair damage for single target, and a decent replacement for Reliquin for those that don't yet have it. Coming in at number 7, we have Armor of Truth. This is a dungeon set found in Darkshade Caverns. The set bonuses, we have Weapon Crit, Max Stamina, Weapon Damage, and for the 5-piece, when you deal damage to an enemy who is off balance, your weapon damage is increased by 460 for 10 seconds. This is a pretty underrated set. I don't think a lot of people realize that when you're dealing the damage to the off-balance enemy, the set constantly refreshes. So off-balance lasts for 7 seconds, and while you're dealing damage to that enemy, it keeps refreshing, so the timer stays at 10 seconds until that off-balance runs out, and then it starts ticking down. So really, with one target, you'd have a 17-second uptime, and then a 5-second downtime. So for any fight that has multiple enemies in it, as long as someone in your group is setting them off-balance, it's really easy to get nearly 100% uptime on this set. This is a heavy set, so make sure to run it on your jewelry and your weapons to keep your medium armor passives. At number 6, we have Vicious Serpent, or Vicious Ophidian. This is a trial set found in the Craglorn Trials. For the set bonuses, we have Weapon Crit, Minor Slayer, Weapon Crit, and for the 5-piece, we get Weapon Damage, and then reduces the cost of your stamina abilities by 8%. When an enemy you have recently damaged dies, you restore 2150 stamina and gain Major Expedition for 8 seconds, increasing your movement speed by 30%. This set is outclassed by several others for damage, but the sustain on it is amazing. It's perfect for solo content like VMA. You'll just never run out of resources with it. The Major Expedition is really nice too to keep you moving around the arena. It's also a really nice set for 4-man content, especially if you're pugging and don't know if you'll be getting synergies for sustain, just to make sure you'll be good to go throughout the dungeon. At number 5, we have TZOGVIN'S Warband. This is a dungeon set found in Frost Vault. For the set bonuses, we have weapon crit, physical penetration, and then for the 5-piece, when you deal critical damage, you gain a stack of precision, increasing your weapon crit by 129 for 10 seconds, up to 10 stacks max. At max stacks, you also gain minor force, increasing your critical damage done by 10%. This set does really good damage. It's not quite as good as Berserking Warrior as far as flat damage, but what it does is it allows you to free up the global cooldown of casting Barbed Trap, since you get the minor force from it already. And it also has a line of penetration, so you could run precise instead of sharpened. Factoring those things in, it's a really nice set for nice, easy damage, especially with bow builds. At number 4, we have Deadly Strike. This is an overland set found in Cyrodiil in the town of Bruma. For the set bonuses, it's weapon damage, weapon crit, weapon damage, and then for the 5-piece, increase the damage of your physical, bleed, poison, and disease damage over time and channeled abilities by 20%. This is an excellent set for Templars and is the equivalent of about 80% uptime on perfected Locustes. And it's also a really solid set for any stamina class that uses rapid strikes as a spammable, since it not only boosts your damage over time, but also your channeled abilities, like rapid strikes. You'll see this set pull ahead of most other non-trial sets in the game. Coming in at number 3, we have New Moon Acolyte. This is a craftable set that needs all 9 traits researched and is found in Southern Elsewhere. For the set bonuses, we have weapon crit, spell crit, weapon damage, spell damage, physical pen, spell pen, and then the 5-piece adds 481 weapon and spell damage. This also increased the cost of your abilities by 5%. This set does excellent damage, and it outperforms Deadly Strike for most classes and builds, but the hit to sustain can be noticeable in some cases. The penetration is really nice as it allows you to hit pin cap a little more easily, especially in trash fights. At number 2, we have Arms of Reliquin. This is a trial set found in Cloudrest. I rank perfect Arms of Reliquin and non-perfect Arms of Reliquin both at number 2. For the set bonuses, we have weapon crit, minor slayer, weapon crit, and then for the 5-piece, max stamina, and your light and heavy attacks apply a stack of harmful winds to your target for 5 seconds. Harmful winds deal 200 physical damage every 1 second, 20 stacks max. This is the top damaging set in the game for single target damage, but it is not usable on some fights where stacks can't be built or kept up. It can take a bit to get used to keeping stacks up on bosses that move or jump around, but once you get it down, it's definitely worth it. And finally, at number 1, as most of you probably guessed, Tooth of Locustes. This is a trial set found in Sunspire. The set bonuses are weapon damage, minor slayer, weapon damage, and for the 5-piece, weapon crit, and when you activate a synergy, gain Major Slayer for 15 seconds, increasing your damage done to dungeon and trial monsters by 15%. With good uptimes, this outperforms everything for overall damage. As I mentioned earlier, it is worse than Deadly Strike, only on Stamplars if you're getting less than an 80% uptime. And then for the non-perfect version, Deadly Strike is actually a little bit better for Stamplars only. I'd still rank the non-perfect version of this set at number 1 as long as you're getting good uptimes. In a well-optimized group, it's not hard to keep this at nearly 100% uptime. Alright, that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you guys for watching. Please feel free to let me know in the comments if I missed a set you thought should have made the cut. One last thing, if you like the music you've been hearing in these videos, check out my SoundCloud and music YouTube. I'll put the links in the description below. You can download the tracks I've posted on SoundCloud for free. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.